The clock continues to tick, and still nothing from the CFL about whether or not there's going to be a 2020 season this year. Have we reached the point of farce with the whole CFL situation? Let's dive down that rabbit hole. Rick Zamperin, we are coming up on 2 weeks away from Labor Day. We're coming up on September Fast. We have no news from the CFL at all. Radio silence, it seems. Has this thing just become ludicrous? Has it become absurd what's going on right now?
The slogan right now for the CFL should be, turn out the lights, the party's over. Time has run out, and if there is any more time to get a deal with the federal government and between the league and the Players Association, there's probably seconds left. I mean, forget the 3-minute warning. That has long passed. We're in the dying seconds of what could be potentially a 2020 saving deal. I don't see it happening. The clock is in the final seconds, and if there isn't a deal in the next couple of days, there probably shouldn't be.
But we've heard nothing to suggest that a deal is coming, Bubba. I mean, maybe it's there, but we've heard nothing to that effect.
We've heard nothing from anyone, and this has been a constant complaint from myself on this podcast, other podcasts, on Twitter. Where is anyone? And especially, where is the Commissioner, Randy Ambrosie? As I've said before, even in the times of uncertainty in the National Hockey League and the NBA especially, these commissioners were very, very visible, if not giving us some type of update, maybe even telling us there is no update. But there was at least a feeling of, okay, well, maybe this may happen or not. Other than the 3 statements put out on CFL.ca by the commissioner, we have no idea what's going on. So it's left up to us in the media, up to the fans to sit there and do exactly what we're doing, saying it's the middle of August. They wanted to do this hub city idea, which came out of nowhere in Winnipeg, on Labor Day and do a 6-game season. How is that feasible with training camps, getting players up from the United States? This is now turned into a pipe dream, in my opinion.
Well, Labor Day has blown long past. It's impossible. There's no you don't even have a deal with the players. That will take time. Then you've got to get them here. That'll take time. Then you've got to quarantine them. That'll take time. Then you have to have some kind of training camp. That'll take time. So no, we always hear people say, I don't want to negotiate in the media. And, we're in the media, so we want people to negotiate in the media, quite frankly. But I understand the point. But this is not negotiating. When Randy Ambrosie doesn't say anything, this is not a case of him saying, well, I'm not negotiating in the media. No. You're not giving anything to anybody. So, you can certainly take the position that I'm not going to argue my case with the players or without the players in the media. But what is going on? And the silence, sorry for the cliche, is deafening.
It certainly is. And, we haven't heard from the CFL. We haven't really heard from the PA, apart from, very early on in the process in terms of, we're far apart on the deal. I have seen some, tweets from players, Riker Matthews, Delvin Breaux, I think, sent one out a while ago, basically saying the league has informed us as players to prepare for an off season and, get our other jobs in order. So, I mean, those are dark clouds hovering over the PA and the CFL, certainly. But at the end of the day, time is of the essence. And if a deal isn't done, I mean, we're in the middle of August. You mentioned the 2-week quarantining period, training camps, getting players ready, getting them fit. There is certainly with this long layoff, they haven't played since last November. There is, an injury waiting to happen because, guys aren't going to be ready if the season starts in a matter of 3 or 4 weeks.
Have I missed something? Do we even know if the American players can come into Canada right now? Maybe I missed that, but have the CFL American players been given a green light if there's a season to come here? I don't even know if that's a go-ahead yet.
Well, I think they would grant them and I think the Canadian government would be satisfied if they were to say quarantine for 2 weeks in the United States and then be forced to quarantine from anywhere from 7 to 10 days here in Canada. I think that would be at the bottom line the requirement for anyone, because I know I think they would be somewhat sympathetic to the business. But I mean, the rules are still the rules, whether you're a sports player, as the Blue Jays have found out, as I believe TFC are going to find out. Rules are rules. And if you want to continue the business, you'll have to go elsewhere. But, guys, here's something that I'm really thinking about. And I know we've long said in the Canadian Football League, I think all three of us have said it at one time, that the real season in the CFL starts at Labor Day. Imagine this. If the Canadian Football League and the Players Association were to come to some type of agreement and say start the season at the beginning of October, I'll go that deep. You're dealing with the National Hockey League Stanley Cup playoffs, the NBA playoffs, which are going to attract an incredible amount of attention. You've got a couple of baseball as well too, Masters, some tennis tournaments, U.S. Open. Where would the CFL fit in the trees among all of those things that are going on? And I say this because normally in a league that starts in June, you have built up a certain amount of momentum that can carry this league through, which is obviously a smaller league compared to the other ones I mentioned. You've got a momentum that you've built up to, even though we say the standings don't really matter till later. There's momentum and interest and love of your team that's carried through. Who's going to just all of a sudden in Toronto become an Argonaut fan in October? It's just not going to happen. And I think there will be even some struggles in the rest of the Ontario markets, including Hamilton, where fans are committed to other things. They have already jumped in the boats for other things. All of a sudden, you're going to become, other than maybe Saskatchewan, people are going to go crazy about the CFL, or Winnipeg, where this hub city would be.
I think that you're going to have the diehards come back, Rick. But the question becomes, to Bubba's point, let's say it's a Friday night and you've got a Stanley Cup Finals game on and you've got an NBA playoff game on that the Raptors are in, and you then have a football game. Once upon a time, Friday night was CFL football, and you could say, I'm going to watch the football game. Now you're splitting the market, and you're still going to get the diehards, but you're not going to get necessarily the casual people there. And truly, I don't know if that matters at this point. I don't know if they just want to get on the field. They don't really care about TV ratings or anything else, but I do think there's an issue that you are going to struggle to grab a full audience.
Yeah, let's not forget, there's not going to be any fans in the bubble IG field in Winnipeg, so everything's going to be on TV or tablet or listening to it on the radio. The fact of the matter is that there's also going to be NFL come October, November, December. There might be, and I really say that leaning towards probably not, an NCAA season. I know Lou Holtz was the latest to come out to say, hey, we need NCAA football because we got to get back to some kind of normalcy. I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, there's going to be so many eyes on so many different things. Let's not forget, back to school, we got to worry about our kids. So yeah, there's going to be the CFL diehards watching the game, consuming the content, going online, going on the message boards, on Twitter, whatever the case is. But their focus is going to be splayed out all over the place because there's so many other things that have to happen. And the other thing to consider too is, you start the season in October, is it ending in January? Are we going to have a Grey Cup on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve? I mean, it's going to be cold in Winnipeg, let me tell you.
Well, theoretically, let's say you start, as you said, the 1st of October, and you get a 6-game regular season. Because you have an odd number of games, I guess you have to have at least one bye week. So that means you've got to have 7 weeks. Let's say we'll go to the end of November.
Yeah.
And then you've got some playoffs. Presumably you still have your normal playoff stuff that happens, which would be 3 playoff games. The other challenge is, do you really want to be playing the week before Christmas? Maybe. I mean, maybe with people off and people looking for stuff to do. But you know what? There's another fight now. Do you watch Hallmark Christmas movies or do you watch CFL football?
But guys, so then here, I mean, and I'm not being facetious here by saying this. What are we waiting on? What? Are they waiting on funding?
Money, yeah, money.
Okay, but they started at $150 million, which I think all three of us at the time and now even looking back, we think was absolutely almost bordering on irresponsible that you were going to ask for $150 million of the Canadian federal government's money on an unpaid, not even a loan, You wanted a handout of $150 million.
It was a shocking headline that people remembered.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then it back down to I think to a hundred. What was reported at about $42.5 million. Still a handout, not a loan. Then it dropped to apparently $30 million, and then the government, I guess, had some taxes and interest rates that the league weren't happy with. Money's not coming from anywhere in the government right now. I mean, is the Ontario Hockey League getting any money? Is Golf Canada getting any money? Is Tennis Canada getting any money? This league cannot expect to get these handouts based on the heartstrings of many Canadian football fans that sit here and say, well, it's a part of our heritage. Here in Hamilton, people rely on $20 a week to get, people parking on their lawn. It's gone too far, guys. So what are we waiting on? Call off the season, for crying out loud.
And if it's a loan, a repayable loan, and it's $30 million, Rick, we have heard now over and over that there are a number of teams that lose money every year, and the other teams, the publicly held teams, they've got some money in the bank, but they're going to struggle if they play. If you take a $30 million loan that you have to pay back, are you not putting the league in more jeopardy down the road? Because now you've got to try and raise enough money to subsist all along, plus you've got to pay this back. I'm not sure at this point that's even a wise business move.
All these owners, all these community-owned teams as well have lost millions in lost sponsorship dollars, revenue, but they've also saved on some expenses as well, travel, hotels, paying the players, all that kind of stuff. You tack on a $30 million price tag that all these owners will have to pay $3.1 million at least to pay this thing back just to have a 6-game season. How much money is this league going to recoup in a 6-game season and a couple of playoff games? They should cut the cord now and say, we'll see you in 2021 and hope for the best, because they're not making any of that money back. In fact, they're just going to be tacking on to what they already owe. And their red line is going to get underlined and bolded and in huge font because it's not getting any better.
I can respect the fact that TSN are desperate for content. They don't have the National Hockey League. They've split the NBA games. They only have one game a week. They don't have the Blue Jays. They're dying for content, but not at the expense of what we're seeing here in the league right now. So unless the owners are going to dig down into their pockets, and I guess we've got some even right here in Hamilton, an owner that has some money and some other businesses, unless they want to dig into their pockets to save the season quote, I just don't see this happening. And you know what, guys? We started this conversation back in June, and I said at the same time, and I will maintain this, pack it up, pack it in, I think were the words that I used at that time, and prepare for 2021, but remodel the league, right? Because if even if they put a Band-Aid on this and fix this, we're going to have to be talking about the finances of this league again 2 years from now, and then 2 years after that. Maybe it's time for a hardcore segment. Should Mike Riley in the Canadian Football League, and I'm not just naming him because he's Mike Riley, great quarterback, should anyone in the league in this model be in the CFL be making in excess of $700,000? I don't think so.
Let me throw one more thing out there, and it's a letter, a story, whatever you want to call it, a first-person piece that's written in something called the Park Journal, which looks like it's a sort of a knockoff of the Players Tribune. And it was written by Delvin Breaux. Rick, you mentioned Delvin Breaux a few minutes ago. Let me see if I can find this quote here. This is at the end of a long story. He's written about a whole lot of other stuff. COVID has opened my eyes to life after football. Honestly, F football, CFL, NFL, I'm tired, bro. If we have a season starting tomorrow in Canada, you won't find me there. I have too many great things going for me to play for 33% of my salary. F that. My life is important, and I haven't been thinking of football. Instead, I've been pursuing passions and business opportunities away from the field. I'm not focused on the future. I'm focused on the now. Again, we're short on time, but if you start getting guys like we've already heard from Speedy Banks, now we've got Delvin Breaux, even if you get a season put together, how many guys, especially American guys, are going to say, we've talked about this before, I'm not coming for 33% of my pay. I think you're going to get a lot of those. And now, even if you solve the one big problem, You've got a whole other problem now to solve, and I don't know that there's an easy solution for that one, especially if, as we've talked about, you're looking at a really tight window where you say, deal signed, we've got a deal, we're going to have a season, now we've got to get the players signed, and then, holy crap, where's my roster? Who's playing for me? I mean, it just seems like both of you have said it. Bobby, you said it. Pack it in, pack it up. It's not about hating the CFL by any stretch. It's the opposite.
No.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of that. This thing seems to be, even if you can get on the field, it seems to be destined for problems.
And what Bro has said and what Brandon Banks has said, and look at the quality of the individuals. 2 star players on the rosters, but 2 veteran guys as well, who've both been in the National Football League. They've been in the Canadian Football League. They have gotten the runaround with football. Their life is football, but they've been through the rigors of what this machine, what this business is. You might have a lot of rookies and young guys, on the cusp of stardom who want to come back and play, but you're going to have a lot of veterans saying, I'm going to play for 30 grand? No, I'll take a pass.
Not and especially with, COVID to worry about, concussions, injuries, blown out knees. It's just not worth it. Again, I will stand by this now. And I kind of thought about this a long time ago, but I'll maintain it again. And I think this is the way I'm going to think from now on when it comes to the Canadian Football League. You've got to remodel the league. You have to remodel the finances of the league. So this way it's affordable. We're not always talking about finances in the league. And one other thing here too, somehow, some way that we can, guys, this is the Canadian Football League, that to give opportunities to Canadian players to play the league. I've been fortunate enough on a university football basis and calling some of the games and being around that scene to see a guy like Chris Merchant, who is a Heck Crichton winner as the top football player in this country. And probably wouldn't get a job in the Canadian Football League, and recently just signed on with a team in Spain. Spain! Like, one of the top football players in this country can't play in Canada. He has to go to Spain. To me, that's a major problem.
Well, look, Kyle Quinlan years ago after that Vanier Cup game, Montreal signed him, and then, but it was a bit of a farce signing. Like, never really got a look. It's you're right. You're right. What do you think? Has the CFL reached that point where you say, guys, for the sake of sanity, cut it and wait for 2021? Are we there? We'd love to hear from you. Our Twitter handles are on the screen. They'll be up again afterwards. Let us know. Comment down below. Send this video to your friends. Chat about it with your friends. What do they think? Also, you can subscribe down below as well. We would love to have you notice and note and be aware of every time that we put one of these up, which is regularly. Down right there. You can find it. Thanks for watching. We will talk to you again soon.